I was just I was just messing with the color saturation. I don't think I can really get it quite right, but I think this is as close to realistic as I can get it. I try to compare it with my phone camera and match it up, but it never feels so if I put manual on, it'll just look like I'm pasty white, but I'm not pasty white, and I hate being pasty white. What am I talking? Okay, so I am tired today. It's only 9:43 p.m. and I'm really tired. What was I going to talk about? I didn't prepare. Didn't prepare what to talk about. But I have a few notes. I have some interesting notes that I still haven't gone over. Oh man. Okay, so I'll run through the titles of the notes. Breakup advice for guys. So I already made a breakup advice or just breakup in general. But that was a lot of it was very specific to my circumstance, and I wanted to make a more generalized advice to help a lot more guys rather than people who are specifically in my situation, which is more, sure, more less common, but more niche. But I do want to help out guys who are just going through breakups. And then there's also burnout. That's another topic. Thoughts for Devault. That one's just some random ideas that I have. I still haven't gone through that. Damn. Wow. The burnout one was since September. And then I've got fears. No, that was September. The burnout one was August. Whoa, okay, so maybe I have to do the burnout one. Just get it over with really quick. But I kind of don't want to do burnout. Like, I don't really. What do I have to add to that? Already 2 minutes in. Okay, let's just do the burnout one. The rest of the notes that I have are longevity plus current goals. And the last one is I wanted to talk about the Severance TV show. Okay, let's talk about burnout though. Let's get it out of the way. So, I briefly mentioned this in another one of my vlogs, burnout, but I wanted to fully flesh out the idea. Everyone knows what burnout is. Everyone gets it at some point, but it's really hard to cope with it. So, one of the best advices that I've heard for it is burnout isn't your fault, but it's your responsibility. And you can take that with a lot of things rather than only burnout. Like, I believe that a lot of people my generation, a lot of people my age, take that victim mentality and just apply it everywhere when they should be taking responsibility for even if things that are even not their fault. And that's how you get ahead of people rather than just complain. You accept that it's not fair. Life is not fair. And I have to struggle through it and I have to find my own path without the help of anyone else. There's nobody here to guide my hand. There's mom and dad are not always going to help me out. Are not always going to, help me out. Why is it? It shouldn't be. Okay, hopefully it's a bit quieter. I think I've been bass boosted into the mic, but hopefully it's a bit quieter now. So it's not your fault, but it's your responsibility. I mean, everything. You can say the job market is down, but it's not your fault, but it's your responsibility. You've still got to find a job. You can't just say, well, the job market's bad, so I can't find a job. No, people still find a job. You have to find a way to do that. And it's tough, and yes, it's unfair that you were born in this generation and you chose computer science, for example. But you still have to persevere through that, and you have to knock through it. I was gonna say so many sus things. Like I was thinking bust through it. I was thinking like it doesn't matter. Right. Okay. So the problem is so for burnout, the problem is that you think you're doing pointless work because if you so burnout really happens when you get overwhelmed with work, when you're doing just way too much work and you've just had enough. There's just nothing there's no more your body can give. You're just extremely fatigued and it's not just a day that you're like clocked out. It's like weeks or even months. I've had this for I've had burnout for like weeks at least. You could easily have it for months though. And it's one of those the way it feels in case you haven't felt burnout to an extreme extent. It feels like you're just really exhausted and you don't want to do any work whatsoever. You just want to relax. And then when you do have to do work, so let's say you have an assignment due Saturday. So you finish the assignment Saturday, you cram it in, and then you just don't want to do any work at all until the next Saturday. And that's kind of how, I mean, burnout and procrastination kind of tie in, but it's more like burnout is even worse where like you can have procrastination without burnout, obviously, but once you have burnout, it's like procrastination is inevitable. And then not only that, you're going to come to a point where it's like, what's even the point of doing this? I want to just drop out of university. I want to drop out of everything that I'm doing, every facet of work that I'm doing, not just university, just all of these projects that I want to do. I'm going to set them aside and I just want to relax, like just not do anything. And I'm not even talking video games, just skip the work and play video games, although that's part of it. I think there's some people that choose that, but it's also like not even play video games. Like even video games is an effort. Just want to be at peace, done with everything. From that, you can easily get depressed. So, right, the problem stems from doing pointless work. If you view that, see, now and the solution is shift your mindset and find meaning or fix why it isn't meaningful. So if you shifted your mindset, if you said instead, this is completely meaningful work, this is the point of my life, going through this academic completing my computer science degree. That is the point of my life. That is, or maybe not the point of my life, but that's one piece that will make the meaning of my life. You assign that much meaning to it, and suddenly you don't get burnout. You will always have enough motivation and energy to do it. Now, I don't think you can go full on 100% every single day, but you won't get burnout. It's strange how it works. I acknowledge though, I bet if you were in an insane program where you had to spend day and night, lack sleep just to survive in that curriculum, you would get burnout. I mean, you will have limits as a human, you have limits, but you don't realize what exactly those limits are. You always underestimate them. I mean, you think about this in the gym, the most practical example is pushing to failure. A lot of people don't know what pushing to failure is. And then they do it. They think they're pushing to failure, but what it actually is you push, you do your hardest. And then you're like, I'm done. And then you're like, I'm done, but let me do a few more reps. and you somehow manage to do a few more reps, and then you're like, I'm done. And then you're probably done by then. But then you're still like, I can do one more rep. And then you do manage to push out one more rep. This is getting into injury zone, but push out one more rep, and then you keep on trying to, like, you focus on getting that one last rep, and at some point your body just cannot do it. But that's when you've reached failure. That's actually when you've reached failure, not when you think you're just exhausted and it's uncomfortable to continue going. A lot of girls do that, actually. Well, not even girls. There's quite a few guys where they'll go to the gym. I mean, just people in general. People in general don't want to push to their limits. They'll go to the gym, they'll push, they'll do their work, and then you'll see them just drop the weight. Like, you don't control the weight down. You don't max out every set that you do, every rep. Just maximize that. I mean, fine by me. You're not hurting me, you're hurting yourself. You're really stunting your growth. So that's the analogy that I'll give. Applicable to more than just the gym, though. And of course, okay, if we're sticking with the gym analogy, you have rest days. And there's going to be weeks, I mean, according to Mike Israetel, you want to have mesocycles. So you want to have a week where you're doing low volume or a lighter workout. And then the next week you're doing a bit heavier. And then what I mean is intensity. Like, not necessarily weight, but intensity. You're doing a light workout, and then you're doing a heavier workout next week, and then heavier, and then heavier. And then finally you're at your peak, your max for that week. That week you're doing your max for that entire mesocycle, which is basically just a section of, mesocycle is just a section of your workout. So we'll say like 4 months or 3 months, your workout career. And then at that point, you go back. You either deload or you just go back to the first stage where you're pushing really lightweight, doing like almost 70, I think it's 75% of your max for reps, like 75% of your max reps for reps, if that makes any sense. Like, if you can do 135 for 10, you'll do, I don't know, we'll say 110, 105, sure. We'll say you'll do 105 for 10 as well. So it's going to be a light day. If you don't go to the gym, it probably doesn't make too much sense. I mean, it's kind of intuitive. The way I describe it, I think you should get the gist. But who doesn't go to the gym anyways? Everyone goes to the gym now. So popularized. I think the reason it's so popular is because of not only looks maxing, but I think Andrew Tate played a massive part in gym influence. People just going to the gym. I got into the gym before it was big. That's all I'll say. I'm proud of that. And then I stuck into it. I stuck with it. I think because of the influence, because of the trend, I stuck with it. But maybe that's just how I am, where I think it's good for me. I think it's really good for my health. So there's no reason I should stop doing it. But honestly, at this point, I've just kind of plateaued in terms of motivation to go to the gym. I've attained a physique that I've generally wanted. I mean, I would always want more muscle, but I remember when I started working out, I think my physique right now was my goal. Honestly, my physique right now would probably be my goal. Yeah. Like, I did not have much of a goal, but now the muscle standards, everything's so skewed. Like, I look like I don't even lift now, even though I've lifted for so long. So now I have to lift even more just to look above average, just a little bit above average. it's hard to really find a goal for the gym. That was such a long tangent, but an important one. The gym is a big part of what I do. And I've thought about this a lot. I don't even know if I really like going to the gym. I've talked to people and they say they enjoy it. They get, I mean, you get runner's high, endorphins when you go to the gym, when you work out generally. But I don't think for me, I don't really get that. I don't feel that good. I just feel like I did something purposeful, but I don't think I've never felt runner's high. And I've done cross country too. I've done track and field. I've done a bunch of sports and I don't think I've ever felt runner's high. At least to the extreme that people describe it as. Like no pain, just pure euphoria. Well, not pure, but it's a lot of euphoria. No. Okay, back to the main topic at hand, burnout. The last little note that I have, if an action is bad, does it mean the result of that action is bad? What? No, this had nothing to do with burnout. Okay, but this is an interesting little point. So the example that I have, killing a person and that person being killed. So if an action is bad, does it mean the result of that action is bad? I don't believe it to be true. So in case you don't understand it, what I'm trying to argue is that I think there is a difference in terms of morality, in terms of value, goodness, good and evil. When we're talking about if I were to kill a person and if that person were to die. So the fact that that person was killed by another human being is bad because that the human being took someone's life, chose to take someone's life. But having their life taken in an earthquake, we'll say, that's not bad. Feel free to disagree with me on this one. This one's more on the controversial side, but I think you'd be... The framework that I have supports my way of thinking, obviously. I mean, the framework that you have supports your way of thinking. Okay. But really think about that because I don't think you can say no to that. I don't think you can say, well, killing is bad. Oh, okay, well, killing is bad. I don't think you can say a person dying is bad. At least if you were me, if you were a Catholic, we'll say, if you were a Christian, you can't really say death is bad. And the most reminiscent point is Pope Francis. He's going to likely die very soon. I mean, he has lung problems and he's got some other health issues that are just cascading on top of it. And he does not look like he is in good shape. Just his face, you can see his throat just sagging here. The point that I bring up, though, is my dad was saying, why are we praying? What are we praying for St. Francis? Because in Mass, in church, they mentioned, pray for St. Francis. We pray for St. Francis. But what are we really praying for? We're not praying for him to get better. If he dies, he dies. I mean, yeah, we don't have him, but he sees God and that's good. And that's what I've been saying for the past few years. And now my dad finally realizes my point. Realizes, oh, okay, I see what you're saying. You don't just specify it to this case. You can generalize it to every case. Why is dying bad? Is dying bad? No, it's not. He acknowledged that earlier too, that dying isn't necessarily bad. That dying isn't bad. In fact, it's good. Celebration of life. Catholics don't call it funerals anymore. It's celebration of life because you're celebrating that person's life, but now they've moved on to an even better place. And it's true. I mean, who doesn't want to go to heaven? But now, is it really a celebration if they go to hell? And you don't know if they go to hell or heaven, but generally, I mean, if it's not Hitler, they probably are going to heaven. I don't know how it works. I'm not God. I'll ask. I'll let you know. I'll find out the answer and I'll let you know on my next on my last vlog. On the vlog after my last vlog. Yes, that makes sense. Yeah. So moral of the story, be Catholic and don't do drugs.